Nobody told you it was going to feel like this. You thought letting go would feel like freedom from the jump, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. What they didn't tell you is that the first phase of detachment feels more like withdrawal than liberation. Your chest is tight. The silence is loud. Every part of you knows the move to make, and your body is still resisting it because the habit of holding on runs deeper than logic ever will. That's not weakness. That's just what it costs before it pays off. Hey loves, Emma here, and today we're going into something that gets talked about a lot but explained very little. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what detachment actually demands of you, why everything you're trying to attract keeps slipping through your fingers, what makes releasing so hard even when staying is clearly hurting you, the 5 phases you move through on the way to actually being free, and the concrete things you can do starting now. If something has had a hold on your mind longer than it deserves, stay with me. This one is for you. Let's start with what's really going on when you catch feelings hard. Without even realizing it, your entire inner world starts organizing itself around one person. The way you check your phone changes. The way you process your day changes. You're reading meaning into response times, scanning their activity, writing and deleting messages, playing out conversations in your head that haven't happened yet. And you keep telling yourself it's just because you really like them. But liking someone doesn't do that to you. Attachment does. What's actually happening is that you've quietly transferred your sense of stability into someone else's hands. Someone who didn't ask for it, didn't earn it, and may not even know they're holding it. You're not just hoping things work out. You're invested in controlling how they unfold. Your availability, your patience, your energy, all of it is being deployed in service of an outcome you're afraid to lose. And the person on the other end can feel that. Not the strategy, the weight of it. There's a difference between someone who wants you and someone who needs you to confirm they're worth wanting. People instinctively step back from the second one. Not out of cruelty. Not because you're lacking. But because needing someone to validate you before you can feel settled. That pressure lands on them whether you say a word or not. So, the thing you're gripping tightest is the thing moving furthest from your reach. That's not bad luck. That's the direct result of leading with fear instead of wholeness. When you genuinely trust that something belongs in your life, your energy around it is different, lighter. You're not monitoring it. You're not performing for it. You're living your life with the quiet confidence that what's meant to be in it will find its way there. And if it doesn't, your world doesn't collapse because you were never incomplete without it. Your value isn't something you prove by staying available to someone who keeps you uncertain. You demonstrate it the moment you decide your peace has a price and someone just exceeded it. So hear this. Stop outsourcing the choice to them. You make the choice. You know what you want, you know what you deserve, you name it internally, and then you release your death grip on the how and the when. Life rarely delivers things the way we draft them in our heads, but when your hands aren't full of what you're refusing to put down, it can actually deliver something better. The part that makes this uncomfortable is that your mind wants a guarantee. It wants a date, a confirmation, a sign that this is going somewhere before it agrees to relax. That's your fear talking. The grounded version of you doesn't require certainty before she moves with intention. She doesn't replay unanswered questions. She doesn't stay somewhere that can't decide on her. She makes her call and she carries it with her. So ask yourself something real. Is it the thing you want, or is it the woman you imagine you'd be once you finally had it? Because if it's the second one, I need you to hear this. She's not waiting on the other side of him. She's not going to emerge when you get the job, the callback, the closure. She's already in you, right now, exactly as you are. What you actually need isn't the thing, it's your energy back, and you reclaim it by making yourself unavailable to everything that keeps draining it. Not eventually. Now. Because the longer you wait to choose yourself, the more it'll cost you when life eventually forces the lesson anyway. What's yours will never ask you to disappear to keep it. Now let's address manifestation, because a lot of you are practicing it while running a completely contradictory energy underneath. The affirmations are there. The journal pages are filled. You're doing the visualizations, speaking the future into existence, moving like you believe it's coming. But beneath the practice, your nervous system is quietly broadcasting something different. Something that sounds like, I won't be okay if this doesn't happen. I need this to feel like I'm enough. That's not a manifestation practice. That's a fear response wearing spiritual clothing. You say you trust the process, but the moment your timeline gets disrupted, your body reacts before your mind can catch up. Tightness in your chest, compulsive checking, searching for signals that it's still on its way. That's not surrender. That's someone who doesn't fully believe they're going to receive what they're asking for, trying to stay close enough to catch it if it falls. Here's what actually determines what you pull into your life. Not the words you repeat, but the frequency your whole being runs on. Your self-concept, your beliefs, what your body does when you sit quietly and think about the thing you want. When every layer of you is in agreement that something already belongs to you, the energy around it is settled, certain, non-reactive. It's the difference between someone waiting anxiously for a package they're not sure is coming and someone who already knows it's shipped. You don't attract what you declare, you attract what you are. If your entire system is humming at the frequency of lack, of not yet, of I don't know if I'm the kind of woman this happens for, then that's the signal going out. And the universe is not going to override it with good intentions. The real danger is when your identity becomes contingent on one outcome. Because then it's not just a desire, it's the thing holding your sense of self together. And when it doesn't land the way you needed, you don't just lose the opportunity, you lose yourself inside the loss. That's when you know it was never really faith. It was attachment dressed in the language of manifestation. What real manifestation looks like is steady. It's not indifferent. You can want something deeply and still be uncontrolled by it. You do the internal work, you align your actions with who you're becoming, you hold the standard, and then you genuinely release the grip, not as a technique, as an actual inner shift. You stop watching the clock. You stop needing it to arrive before you can feel whole. You live in the energy of the thing already being true, and you let the timeline belong to something bigger than your anxiety. And even if it doesn't arrive in the exact shape you imagined, you still come out ahead. Because the version of you built through that process of trusting, releasing, and continuing to grow, that's the actual prize. So check in with yourself honestly. Are you calling things in from a full place or an empty one? Are you allowing or are you strangling the desire with how badly you need it to confirm something about you? Until you actually let the grip go, not perform letting go, actually release it, you will continue to be the reason it keeps not coming. Aligned energy, calm certainty, trust that doesn't require proof every 5 minutes. That's what moves things, not vision boards, not volume of affirmations, the state underneath all of it. Now, letting go. I've used those words throughout this whole conversation, and I want to be honest with you about what they actually cost. It's not a moment, it's not a realization you have that instantly untangles everything. What makes it so much harder than people admit is that you're not just releasing a person or a situation, you're releasing the story you built around it, the identity you wore when you had it, the version of your life you were certain was coming, and your mind will not let that go quietly. It will tell you the thing was singular, that the feeling was unrepeatable, that you peaked somehow and didn't know it at the time. It will make ordinary familiarity sound like destiny. It will dress up the fear of an open future as grief over an irreplaceable past. That voice is not your intuition. It's your nervous system trying to stay safe by staying small. Most of us carry a quiet belief that abundance is the exception, that peace, love, genuine opportunity, these things are scarce, and if you release one, you may never find another. So we hold on past the point of wisdom. We amplify the ordinary into the extraordinary because our minds have been conditioned to believe there isn't enough. And that belief is the cage. The thing you're holding on to has become a symbol, not just of what you want, but of proof that good things choose you, that you matter. So losing it doesn't just feel like loss. It feels like evidence. Your nervous system, running on survival, processes the threat as final, as if this closing door means all the others seal shut too. But that is perception under duress, not truth. A brain in survival mode cannot accurately assess possibility. It can only scan for danger. That's why things that weren't even good for you get romanticized once they're gone. That's why a future without this one thing feels impossible to trust. The path out is not through the grief, it's through the belief underneath the grief. You have to first challenge the idea that there isn't enough, that your life has a narrow lane and you just missed your turn. Because what you thought was irreplaceable was mostly just familiar. What you thought was once in a lifetime was mostly just the first time you paid that quality of attention. And what you believed you couldn't survive without, you're already surviving without it. Letting go isn't an emotional event. It's a mental unlearning. It's catching the scarcity story and refusing to run it. It's choosing to believe that the world has more good in it than your fear is currently able to see. When you put something down for real, you don't come out empty. You come out with room, with clarity, with the ability to recognize what's actually worth holding when it arrives. Now here are the 5 stages, because detachment is not a switch, it's a passage. and knowing where you are in it stops you from believing something is wrong with you when you still feel the pull weeks later. Stage 1. Honesty. You're still in it, still wanting the outcome to change. This stage isn't about moving on. It's about stopping the performance of being fine when you're not. You let yourself feel the actual weight of it, the wanting, the disappointment, the gap between what you hoped for and what is. You can't release something you haven't been honest about holding. Stage 2. Examination. You shift from what happened to why it hit so hard, what need was being met, what story about yourself you were running through it, what identity you were maintaining because of it. This is where you start seeing that you weren't just attached to the person or situation. You were attached to who you got to be within it. That's the insight that begins to give you your power back. Stage 3. Integration. The acute pain starts to settle. It doesn't vanish, but it changes texture. You begin to extract what the experience was actually showing you, about your patterns, your standards, your edges. You're not required to be grateful. You're just starting to see the larger shape of why it happened and what it was trying to build in you. Stage 4. Recommitment. You start moving again, not to fill the space and not to prove anything, because something in you has genuinely opened. You begin something, a project, a habit, a direction, and the energy behind it feels clean in a way that chasing never did. You're creating now instead of pursuing, and the difference is felt in your body. Stage 5. Liberation. It no longer lives in your body the way it used to. You can think about it without being pulled under. It becomes part of your story rather than the center of your present. Your mind is steady, your heart is available but not desperate. You're not carrying what's already been put down. This is what it actually feels like to be free, not cold, not closed, just no longer owned by what once controlled you. So how do you actually move through this in real life? Remove the access. You cannot detach while maintaining quiet surveillance. Every time you check on them, the page, the story, the mutual friends, you are choosing reattachment. You are feeding the thing you claim you want to starve. This isn't about being dramatic. It's about being honest that connection doesn't just happen. You keep choosing it. So choose differently. Close the door completely. No soft versions of staying connected. Stop excavating the ending. You've been going back through the sequence trying to locate the explanation that will make it hurt less. But the explanation you're looking for doesn't exist, and even if it did, it wouldn't do what you're hoping it will. You already understand what happened well enough. What you're actually avoiding is accepting it. Every return to the story is a return to the attachment. Let the chapter be what it is. Treat your attention like a resource, because it is. Everything follows where your focus lands. Your mood, your decisions, your energy levels, the opportunities you notice. When the majority of your mental real estate is occupied by something that's over, you are actively depleting yourself, and then wondering why nothing new is growing. You don't shift a pattern through intention alone. You shift it through new action, new input, new environment. Make it harder for your brain to default to the old loop. Interrupt it deliberately and repeatedly. Name what you are actually addicted to. For a lot of us, it was never purely about the person. It was about the feeling of almost, the tension of uncertainty, the emotional charge of a situation that kept you in your feelings and gave you something to work toward. When that disappears, peace can feel wrong. Too quiet, too still, like something must be missing. It isn't missing. You're just unfamiliar with calm. So give your mind something worthy of its intensity. Build something that requires your full attention. Pour into something that pours back. Move before you're ready. This is the one that actually changes you. Waiting until the feelings fade before you walk away is not detachment. It's just time passing. The real work happens in the moment when everything in you still wants to reach back and you choose not to. That decision, made while the pull is still active, is where the shift lives. That's the moment the old version of you begins to loosen. Anyone can leave once they're already gone. The woman who leaves while she still wants to stay, that's who she becomes on the other side of it. Being detached doesn't make you hard, it makes you whole. It means you've done enough internal work that the things which once had access to your peace, the situationships, the almost relationships, the outcomes you overinvested in, they simply can't get in the same way anymore. Not because you stopped caring, because you started caring about yourself first. That's what this is really about. I'm Emma. If this sat with you, let it actually do something. Share it with the woman in your life who needs to hear it.